Here we are again for another episode of BAMM's Global Scene, the series that brings you insights into music scenes the world over. So far, we've been focused on London music, but like any city, London is most definitely not in a vacuum. So we're going to take you off on a little tangent and take a look at how technology has transformed music production in London.
Modern technology is completely amazing in that I can make a track at home in my bedroom on my laptop, you know, within a few hours. That kind of technology is just, it's still kind of mind-blowing, I think, how quickly that all developed. You can make a track and you can share it with someone in another part of the world within 5 minutes of making it.
I can now put together a piece of music twice as quick as I could in 2002. It's allowed a lot of people to come on board and see music productions for them as well. You can't take musical talent away from someone. It's something that's given to you.
To me personally, it's a double-edged sword. You know, I'm somebody who's grown up with technology. I'm somebody who's very passionate about technology, and ultimately without technology, I wouldn't be where I am now. So on one hand, I'm so excited about what technology has brought, how it's taken power away from big studios, you know, these kind of layers of industry. You know, I remember the days when to record drums, you know, you had to go through this massive process, or to record a great vocal, it was just a nightmare. You had these layers of studios and either trying to get downtime and all this hustling to get into studios just to get an idea recorded. The fact that you can do it in your, you know, in anywhere, on any laptop is fantastic.
People argue, oh, you know, due to technology, everyone's making beats, everyone's just grabbing loops and doing it. But, you know, fine, but musical talent is given to you, and it's something which you use time after time after time after time after time, you know. Yes, you can write a great song with no musical ability and just grab loops and put stuff together and write a really cool hook. Of course you can. But can you do that for 10 years every day?
It's another thing. There's another thing with any kid being able to make tracks in their bedroom as well. You know, it kind of separates the men from the boys, because when it comes time for handling vocals and dealing with a human being like a scared 17, 18-year-old young lady that needs bringing out of her shell, you know what I'm saying, to get the song sounding right and the takes you want, it's a different ball game, you know, and it's something that takes years of, learning and experience and looking into, man. I've
been in situations where I've worked with great beat makers, but get them in the studio with vocalists, they just don't know what they're doing. Because they're so used to working on their own, their decision-making process, they've never had to collaborate or work with a bassist or work with a musician. That's a skill to learn. So I'd say, if you make great beats, create an opportunity where you have to work with a vocalist or an MC, and you have to get the best out of them. Do you know what I mean? Really challenge yourself.
You've got to have that knowledge of, you know, working with people as a whole anyway, because if you're kind of sat behind your screen all your life and you can collaborate by sending parts over. Yeah, you can make tracks together by sending a WAV file with one riff, and then he sends you the drum pattern and you put it together, and you don't have to meet each other ever. You can collab with people all over the world. But then if they say, okay, yeah, come down to the studio, we're gonna make a track, and you sit there and they go, right, you start, and you're like, what am I doing?
Can you jam live?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's to a certain extent a skill you should possess.
I'm certainly willing to embrace any kind of technology, as a lot of other people are. A lot of people are still stuck in their kind of NPC mode of will only make beats like that, but it's limiting, and you've got to acknowledge that. And it's dated, you've got to acknowledge that.
I personally have to remember the days when it was a real task to get, you know, your music to an audience. The fact that you can create an idea on your laptop and distribute it to the world instantly, that's amazing.
You can make your band look like the shit now as well, if you just need a good photographer and a good MySpace. And you know, there's a band playing here who I won't say who they are, but they I don't think they've ever played a live show, and they have something like 1,000 plays every day on their MySpace. They're something of an internet sensation.
It's a little probably worrying as to what's going to happen to, you know, the selling of music itself and singles and stuff like that. I think bands will rely less and less on, you know, living off selling their music. Really, live gigs is the way to go, and I think selling music and albums and singles, etc., is really just becoming a way of promoting a band so that people come along and see you live.
Some people might argue that all the new technology and so on can subtract from a musician's sort of skill that they've spent years kind of learning and so on. Now you can hit a button and so on, but I wouldn't agree with that. Everybody has got the ability to come up with an idea that they think has merit, and if it's easier for them to turn that idea into a, you know, a physical or audible thing, then that's good news.
So, if you have your own ideas floating around, it's never been easier to realise them. Equipment is cheap and some software even free. Who knows? You might make an impact of your own. In the meantime, there's plenty more episodes over at BAMM.TV to inspire you.